There is a quiet kind of power that moves mountains, not by thunder, but by patience, not by noise, but by knowing. And once you learn to hold your peace and pour that energy back into yourself, the world cannot help but shift in your favor. There is a silence that stings, and then there is a silence that sings. The world often mistakes them for the same thing. But those who have walked through storms without needing to shout about the rain know better. They understand that silence, true silence, is not born from weakness, it is born from wisdom. We have been taught that to be silent is to be submissive, that those who speak least are often those who lack the courage to speak up, but that is a misunderstanding born of noise. The kind of silence I speak of is not the silence of fear. It is the silence of knowing, the quiet that lives in the soul of someone who no longer needs to prove, to please, or to perform. It is the deliberate stillness of a person who has learned to protect their peace. You see, anyone can make noise. It is not hard to raise your voice, to throw your energy into the air and demand that others recognize you. But power, real power, doesn't clamor. It does not need to declare itself. It doesn't scream to be seen. It simply is. And in that isness, there is strength that does not rely on reaction. There is a kind of dignity in silence that the loudest person in the room will never understand. To be silent is not to disappear. It is to reappear in yourself. It is to gather your energy where it matters. While others chase claps and compliments, you chase clarity. While others drown in noise, you wade into still waters and find that you are not lost. You are free. You are focused. You are in control. Some will question your silence. They will try to interpret it, define it, dismantle it. They will call you cold, arrogant, distant. But what they do not know is that you have chosen silence not because you are empty, but because you are full of reflection, full of awareness, full of a kind of self-respect that no longer wishes to be wasted on battles not worth fighting. And yes, there will be times when silence is misunderstood as passivity. When you choose not to respond, not to explain, not to defend, some will call you weak. Let them, because you are not here to be understood by everyone. You are here to understand yourself. And understanding oneself is the greatest kind of strategy. Silence becomes a sanctuary when the world gets loud. It becomes a mirror when people try to distort your reflection. In silence, you can hear your own voice more clearly than the opinions of others. You can sort through the chaos and locate your truth, the kind that isn't shaped by trends, gossip, or pressure. Silence teaches you timing. It teaches you when to speak, how to speak, and more importantly, if something even deserves a response. Some battles don't need your sword. Some insults don't deserve your name. And when you respond to everything, you dilute yourself. But when you choose your moments, you become unforgettable. Not because you always spoke, but because when you did, the earth paused. There is no weakness in saving your energy. There is no shame in letting others fill the room with chatter while you sit still, steady, grounded. That is not retreat. That is refinement. That is revolution in its most sacred form, the kind that does not beg to be televised. We live in a culture that glorifies the immediate, the loud, the constantly available. But not everything must be answered in real time. Growth, healing, transformation, they take time and they take place in the quiet. A seed does not shout when it is sprouting beneath the soil. The moon does not scream to outshine the sun. They simply become in their own time, in their own rhythm, with their own grace. So the next time someone tries to pull you into a storm that isn't yours, remember, your silence is not surrender. It is selection. It is strategy. You are not ignoring them. You are honoring you. Silence, when chosen, is a kind of brilliance. It sharpens your mind, softens your heart, and guards your energy. It tells the world, I am not here for your noise, I am here for my peace. And in a world that thrives on distraction, nothing is more powerful than focus. Nothing is more radical than restraint. And nothing is more graceful than knowing when to speak and when to simply, silently rise. There comes a moment when you look around and realize that giving all your time, all your energy, and all your love to everyone else has left you empty. Not because you are incapable of giving, but because you have forgotten that you too deserve to receive from yourself first. You were never meant to serve others from a cup that runs dry. You were meant to fill that cup with purpose, with peace, with passion. And then, if there is overflow, let it touch others. But the filling must come first. To focus on yourself is not to be selfish. It is to be sacred. It is to honor the vessel that carries your dreams, your pain, your power. It is to look in the mirror and say, I matter too. That is not arrogance. That is self-respect. And it is long overdue. Too often we are taught that to be good, we must give ourselves away. That love means sacrifice. That strength means holding everyone else up, even when we are sinking. But let me tell you, love, real love, includes you too. It includes your rest, your boundaries, your growth. And if it doesn't, it isn't love, it's performance. You do not owe your constant availability to a world that takes without asking. You do not need to explain why you're choosing to sit alone and read, why you're turning your phone off, why you're no longer answering calls that only bring confusion or chaos. That's not rudeness. That's wisdom, that's alignment, that's self-respect, wearing its most beautiful cloak, silence. When you begin to focus on yourself, the world may protest. It will ask why you've changed. It will wonder where your attention went. It will miss the version of you who always said yes, who showed up when it hurt, who never asked for much but gave so much. But you are not here to live as a memory of who others preferred you to be. You are here to live as the truth of who you are becoming. And truth, real truth, requires space. It needs time, it needs quiet, it needs care. When you decide to focus on yourself, you begin to realize that not every hand deserves your touch. Not every voice deserves your response. Not every invitation is an opportunity. Some are distractions dressed up in flattery. Some are detours trying to look like destiny. And when you respect yourself enough to say no, you start to see how peace returns like a long-lost friend. There is dignity in choosing yourself. There is healing in saying, I will no longer abandon myself to make others comfortable. Because each time you betray your own needs, your own instincts, your own well-being, you teach yourself that you are secondary, and you are not. You are the beginning of every story you will ever write. You are the root from which all your dreams must grow. And if you do not water that root, it will dry, no matter how many flowers you try to offer the world. People may compliment your petals, but you will know. You will feel the thirst beneath the beauty, and eventually it will show. So take time with yourself. Get quiet enough to hear your own voice beneath the noise of expectations. Get soft enough to hold your own hand. You do not need to rush into fixing others. You do not need to apologize for slowing down, for sleeping in, for starting over. This is your life, and you are allowed to live it at your own pace. Some will call you distant, let them. Some will say you've changed, thank them.